hasn't really changed in prio is the Lucian, which I also expect to be B1 here if it is not taken away.
Yep.
Given that I think Deft individually actually has looked great on the pick, has also been able to have more of a mid-game impact than many other Lucians that we've seen. And Gumayusi and Keria, it's self-explanatory with the huge bag of tricks that they have available to them, giving them the power of Lucian, particularly with the double support item still in the game, is a risk not many teams are willing to take.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. First ban is going to be the Varus aimed at Gumayusi. A lot of flexibility with that particular pick at the moment, with the fact that you can play on hit, you can play crit, you can play lethality, do whatever you want really. There's the Corki ban that we were talking about. Developments here in the LCK, ladies and gentlemen. Udyr taken away from Perfect as well, and Zeus wanting to keep that an honest matchup towards the top side of the map. And if I was a KT fan, which I have sometimes been described as, I would be getting nervous. Because Zeus is really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
And Perfect is very new.
And that is definitely going to be an angle, but for T1, there is also always the R5. They can keep that Zeus pick up until KT actually commits. What I love here is that we see very strong target bans for the specific teams. KT, outside of maybe the Lucian, I think they always want a first rotation Azir, at least second rotation, given that it's BDD's comfort pick. So preemptively taking it away from both Faker and also not giving Faker the opportunity to pick Corki is quite big. Then the Senna really enables Barrel even more so than usually would be the case. So taking that away means that him and Deft can't go quite as crazy.
So the acronym for the bans for KT, I know there's some superstitious people out there, so you're going to have to bear with me for 1 second. VCV, which stands for very clean victory. I don't know.
He's reading the signs already?
That's all you can do. You can't actually analyze. It's KT, so I have to figure out a different way to do it.
No, we absolutely can analyze it, and we should, Atlas.
No.
No, okay.
The Kalista is going to be locked in, though. This is definitely one of Deft's more famous picks, and will work out very well in the mid-game. We'll see what the T1 answer is going to be, because if it is just the 1-2 punch of the Rumble Azir, this is what they were kind of taken down by against Kwangdong. KT. Looks like it might be the Orianna instead. Of course, has a better lane matchup into the Azir. They would like to play that. Does mean that they can only pick the Melio or the Lucian, and one of them will be banned.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Poppy come out here. Poppy to me is like, it's really good for setup for both your Rumble and your Azir. It synergizes well with the Azir. Well, we've seen the Poppy-Azir combo come out a lot. It's one of Oner's best champions, and you're playing into Kalista. So
yeah,
Poppy on free here, to me, is an absolute smash hit. I wouldn't even mind if KT ends up picking it away here. Pioshik can play it. For all I care, you let Barrel play it support. I'm sure he's
Kalista
able
Poppy
to.
works. That's a thing. BDD going to take his Talia, though, so they are going to leave support up in the air to allow a potential counter pick for Barrel, although difficult to get on the blue side. And they will allow Oner to pick his Poppy if he would like to.
Yeah, Poppy to me is the no-brainer. Another thing that has made it through the draft is Ashe.
True.
And Ashe is obviously insanely strong. Now, this is a really interesting pick because we have seen the meta shift away. Outside of some Xin Zhao, it's mostly been just Maokai, Sejuani. You know, we've seen a lot of Rel as well, which I actually think would be my my expected picker, if not for the Poppy being as good as it is, because the setup that you give to your Rumble is amazing. But Oner obviously has an absolutely ludicrous win rate, is a really strong Lee Sin individually, and has already had... I lost count of how many team fight winning kicks. There is definitely a lot. I do think, though, that now for KT, there is the opportunity to throw a bit of a curveball. With this Kalista still being available, you could even end up going for something like a Kalista and an Ashe. Let's not forget that Barrel was the one who, way back in 2022, was the one who really pushed that. He has a skin
on the Ashe.
Well, yeah. I mean, he could have. I still think he should have gone for Heimer, but he knew where the money was.
Yeah, no, that's not a financial decision that Barrel would make. Okay, smarter man than that.
Only the best decisions from Barrel.
Oh yeah, is it Aphelios or is it Melio? That is the question here for KT. Of course, Melio does hit a few more bases. But if it's not picked, then maybe you could play Emilio Kalista there on the bottom side. Barrel has been decent at it. Xayah is instead going to be the takeaway here. As Gumayusi, I would expect he might end up on something like the Aphelios, but no, the Draven hovered for now. This would be a far more aggressive option. And man, this composition in the mid-game looks absolutely terrifying.
And there are two answers, right? To the Kalista, you can either meet them where they're at their own level, which is what Guma is looking at here with this Draven. Pick that he,
it's so good as well, because you remember what Bull did on Kalista to Deft's Draven only 2 days prior to this? Oh, that could be salt in the wound, Chronicler.
That still is the biggest plot twist for me. We don't have time to get into it, but...
Is Bull actually good? That is the real question.
Were we wrong all along?
Well, here's a Bull as well. Beryl, of course, one of the more famous Alistar players. 2019, I believe, was the year where we were saying he was undoubtedly just the best Alistar in the world, and he was absolutely incredible. Has since had some times where things have been a little bit more difficult on his Alistar, let's be honest. But the Viego going to be locked in here for Pyoshik, something that he found a lot of success on as well. And they already did have a fair bit of CC, what with the Alistar now being picked up and Talia Kasante. So you can kind of do that. Poppy being a consideration. That would be support Poppy.
Yeah, or support Rumble. Like I'm trying to think. There's
Lee Sin. Keria's done that before too.
Yeah, I think that, but that with the Lee, I'm not too sure about. I really want to see what actually is going to end up happening. Oh, okay. So it was actually the Poppy,
the bait and switch.
Yeah, as you mentioned, or as we already mentioned, Poppy always going to be really good into the Kalista. And I think the Nautilus, it allows you to have a guaranteed way to set up for the Draven. Do think that into Alistar specifically can be a little bit awkward because Alistar does have really solid disengage, but a surefire way to lock down either a Kalista or Talia in mid to late game team fights and set up for Guma to then throw some access, I think is you're never going to be too sad about. And also T1 didn't really have any engage, and Nautilus definitely is a better option for that than the Poppy would have been.
Yep, and I do really like when Beryl is on an all-in engage support like this and has Fate's Call. It's like he's on a leash, and having Beryl on a leash is sometimes very important. And also being able to get into a position where he can play that extra level of aggressive and start off some of his crazy plays. I think the Alistar could really, really help out there. And having BDD on a roaming champion that he's very, very famous for when you're so reliant on bottom lane not going boom, that is pretty important.
Yeah, but you can't let Draven run away with the game. And we'll see how the mid-game plays out. The one big advantage that I do think T1 has and that KT has to deal with is specifically that Lee. I think that Viego can do decently into Lee Sin, but Oner in particular has just been so consistent on this champion. I think for T1, they've played a comp like this a million times.
Oh, absolutely. It's looking like their bread and butter. But KT, they picked a bunch of new stuff. See how it goes. We hop onto the rift.
I
like the difference in the fan chants, because you can hear the KT fan desperation, even in the chants. And we're on the other side of the venue as well, and we could still hear it. T1, I think, sounded a little more confident, as that's cute, having a bit of an emote-off. This is where the emote-offs generally happen. But Zeus instead, in his brand new little pixel brush here, won't be able to demonstrate his emoting prowess, as this would be sad if BDD immediately had to use his flash, but he doesn't, and he's able to surf away, things like that.
Zeus also already, because of course we do have Mr. Hoon himself on the desk today, already passing the first test. That's an Ignite.
Yeah.
And I'm sure given the relative lack, wait, if you can care.
Yeah, okay, so BDD might have to go a little bit further. Yeah, the flash does come through. Zeus was moving down, perfect, was in position to protect his mid laner. But that is flash for flash already, and Keria has the better version of it at the ready.
Also has allowed Zeus to take some very early control here and get both damage down on BDD as well as Perfect. Start proccing that first strike very early on. The one downside of this is that Keria, I think, will just be in time, but maybe... I think missed at least one minion, so does mean that one of the big weaknesses of Alistar generally is that his level 1 is not real. You know, he's not. Yeah. He's there technically, but not realistically. So that might be an angle here for Deft and Beryl, not having to be too afraid of getting rushed or engaged on. And as we can see, they already take control of the lane, so it's a sacrifice that Keria, I think, is happy to take, but a small win for KT in that they'll at least be able to start setting the pace of this bot lane very early on.
Definitely good news, because as soon as that gets out of control, it gets out of control really far. Keria experimenting with his Hex Flash. Love to see it. It's exactly what you need to do, because pretty much what Hex Flash does is it unlocks your flash to be used at any time. As Oner is looking to punish the new guy. Some hazing here.
Doesn't have W yet.
Yeah, this is very rough. In he comes, and Pyosik is nowhere near. The Ghost has been used. First Harpoon doesn't land as everyone chasing after Perfect, and he is really dead. There's first blood, and it goes to Zeus. Bad news here for KT.
And that's why you go Ignite. And we have seen this from a lot of teams, really, is find the one member on the team that is the easiest to take advantage of and then really hammer it home. Literally, it's just a full clear topside from Oner into immediate gank. Now, I do like the response from KT, and this is really important. Perfect is able to teleport back to the wave. Zeus is getting fed, but at the very least, there is a price that has to be paid by T1 for this really high level of early aggression.
Yeah,
That'll be done.
Oner still taking a bit of damage here as they do have the ward in the brush. The Rend is going to be available here. We'll see whether it can be stolen. No, Def not going to be able to do that. As he continues to throw some sticks into Keria. Gumayusi trying to find something here, but there's the Pulverize onto the Draven. 3 versus 3 here as Beryl has to flash very early on. And this is dangerous for KT. Another hook is going to land here as Pyosik has to flash as well. Deft hopping mad. And KT just throwing their summoner spells around like they've got them for days.
And T1 strike back immediately. KT are looking for as much as they can possibly get, but you gotta respect the early power of this Nautilus Draven. And you can see as well that the burst is definitely enough. As in we go, 3 versus 3.
Yeah, Pyosik is here. That is a decent stun onto Keria. He's still burning. Deft should be able to grab it. And the Ren sets are starting to come through 1-1 now as KT have answered back towards this bottom side.
No overconfidence there from T1. Think that because Oner is in the area, they can actually take this, but Keria goes too low, even hooking out. Not gonna end up saving him. And that is a first kill for Deft's Kalista. And I think crucially there, they still have the summoners available. So this play initially from T1, really like it. Big wave that is being crashed here. Perfect is only level 2, and the amount of damage that are available for Rumble and Lee at this point, particularly with red buff, absolutely crazy. And then here, trying to go in on Beryl, but he has Aftershock available. Even with Guma cancelling, I think, one hop there, not enough. Deft still takes down his old teammate. And that was really necessary because KT was actually falling pretty substantially behind. Now feeling a whole lot better.
Exactly. I think very important for Pyosik as well as, oh dear, Oner just caught out of position, does look to try and safeguard his way out as Pyosik. He does not have the ulti yet and he doesn't have his flash, so Oner will survive for now. But that is a decent little 1-2 punch, and I think Pyosik should be able to collect some shellfish for himself after that one.
Pyosik, man, has been at the right place at the right time, wasn't able to help Perfect, but immediately goes for the counter punch. Has now been instrumental in a lot of these plays.
The Pyosik upgrade, the hyperbolic like LCS time chamber, man, it is insane.
And we saw it at Worlds, and we didn't trust it, right? We saw him against T1, and we're like, wow, that was a fluke. That was a one-time. This is Pyosik after all.
Yeah, but I put it down to Spawn's influence, and you know he doesn't have that anymore.
No, I mean, I don't know how powerful he is. Maybe all the way from...
Oh, he's all powerful.
All the way from an A.
All I promise you. Definitely very, very powerful. As, yeah, Biddy underneath this turret. But I think Pyosik in that one game versus T1 was... He was enough to give me some...
He was mythical.
hope. He really was. And so far, seeming like he's carrying that through. Because I thought that maybe... Like, Pyosik is a big game player, right? We know that about him. When he does have those big stakes, he plays to the crowd. And he can make things happen. Here in the regular season, it's a slog, right? You have to be consistent. You have to continue going. And so far, so good here for Pyosik in the first couple of weeks. Because I don't think it was necessarily him that was the issue versus Quantum. There are a few other things going wrong.
Oh, Pyosik actually has his ultimate available this time around. Are sums available? Oner is in the area, but Pioshik does have a level advantage. 6-5, obviously really big. BDD, though, could be the difference maker. Does have his ultimate, and I wouldn't be surprised if KT want to try and play towards his Drake. We'll see. They picked up one of the Void Grubs right now, not more being taken just yet. As in they go.
Yeah, there's the headbutt. Pulverize hasn't been used just yet, and yeah, Keria, not a lot of places to go. Does still have his flash available, but is he just going to be CC'd to death? Yes, is the answer, and so is Perfect. Yeah, he's not having a great time there towards that top side. Yeah, the flash has to be used there by Zeus, but that is, he's on the ground once again. Faker just going to spend some time here in this mid lane, looking for some plates if he can get them, as BDD makes his way back up, able to skate on these walls. That's going to make him feel a whole lot better. Or surf on the walls, sorry. Wrong board, Atlas.
And you can call Zeus T1's insurance policy if you know, a skirmish on the bot side of the map doesn't quite work out. BDD has a great roam towards the bot side. KT picks a dragon. That's fine, because you are not diverting resources to the one rumble that I think we have always seen deliver in like the last, I don't know how many months of League gameplay, and that is Zeus sitting on 20 CS lead. 2-0, looking to go Leandri's first, picked up early Sork Pen boots as well as dive.
The W flash pole was beautiful from Beryl. The Fate's call to get him out of dodge. The hook from Keria though, and that will be able to get the counter kill. Pioshik should be able to answer it and is able to get himself out of there as well. Minion still, oh never mind, he's dead. Hey, that's going to be the double, and Keria turns it around beautifully. 2 for 2 in the end, but I think we might make it an extra one as the Whirling Death comes in. Beryl not going to be taken down by the Draven. They want to try and cash in at least a little bit there. Faker is going to be able to lock that down in the end, so T1 with the advantage.
And KT continue trying to keep the pace of this game very high. Dive bot again, but crucially, Keria is able to get the hook on Deft, who is still tanking. And then Faker shows up as well.
All right. Pioshik going to get kicked away, but not before he secures his own red buff.
He wins those. Been really good on the smites thus far. As we take another look at this, this is a while back. This is the play on Keria that ended up working out really nicely for KT. Even though on the other end of the map we do see Zeus is able to 1v1 perfect. But these kills on Deft I think still are going to be quite big. As, yeah, he's just dead. He's just dead. Yeah, I would love to say more, but he crashed a big wave, and that's the end of it. And again, I want to draw attention to the hook that is found here.
Oh, we are going to have a little bit of a fight here, though. Keria with a lot of sticks in him. Def not going to be able to find the kill with the Rend. Just a bit of softening up of that Nautilus. Gumayusi moving around. Does have his Serrated Dirk. A fair bit of damage there as Beryl Hex flashing forward. Both of these supports just bloodthirsty and on the right champions to do so as well. I just prefer not to watch this top lane, guys. This is just, it's just unfair. Perfect is going to die. Zero.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say on that one. Perfect really struggling. One of the techs that we used to see from Casante's and I don't think it would have made a big difference, but I do think that there could have been some value there, is the we used to see a lot of aftershock into Rumble specifically. But again, I want to draw attention to this hook, because if this dive goes well for KT, actually could have been really, really big. So what happens is it's Beryl tanking the aggro initially, but then because of the Fate's call, Deft actually takes aggro, and then Keria is able to get the hook, ensure that Deft ends up going down. The only downside for T1 and a big win for KT is that the kills do go to Keria, right? And not to the opposite. Oh, no, please.
Why are we replaying this? We didn't want to watch it.
The worst part is I'm like, maybe he lives.
No,
and then he was overheated. He couldn't ult just yet, and then he did. And it's not going to get better. He's Leandri's now, and a Dark Seal.
Oh, no, it's over. It is completely over. We'll see whether Perfect can just avoid everyone and try and get a little bit of farm here in this game. But the gameplay part of it is pretty much over for the Cassante in this one. BDD hasn't really been able to do too much. So far this game, him and Faker have been trading waves back and forth. Faker getting the most of it, as there was that one Weaver's Wall play that BDD was able to make. That did cost him some minions.
And yeah, he got dove on level 2. And then after that, I think also playing at the Zeus, which you see pretty sizable player gap there, unsurprisingly. But the first kill was in of itself not the end of the world. From this point onwards, though, it's a 2.1k gold lead.
No, it's absurd.
Like
and
that.
It's like the gold lead in itself is all for Zeus. The rest of the map kind of evens itself out. Some advantages here and there. Deft in the lead against Gumayusi for now, but that is pretty much one cash-in away from Gumayusi being massive in this game. T1 does still need to orchestrate that, but with this huge rumble, could be an opportunity for that one to happen. As Faker is going to get shoved back. Threaded volley working out here for VOD as well as he continues to evaporate these minion waves. Has the opportunity to slink into Fog of War. Is important for this guy. Wants to be able to keep his influence high around this map as Perfect. Yeah, we can see just continuing to have a difficult time here in this top lane. Will find at least a few of these minions, but he is dipping further and further behind. The Rookern could not come soon enough.
And this is also a conscious team call being made by KT, right? Where they're like, we need to keep down Guma and Keria. Pioshik has been spending his entire time just towards the bottom side of the map. Has led them to pick up an early Drake. But unfortunately, even with Deft picking up a pretty sizable lead, has not led to the bot lane being completely out of the game. As, yeah, the moment Zeus decides to join, you gotta let it go. And KT are looking like they might not, if they can burst down an individual target right from the get-go, there might be an angle. But I don't think T1 is going to walk into the trap, although Keria just walks up and ward, and that'll be the end of it. And just the threat of a rotation from Zeus is enough.
Actually, I like the play from KT, though, because I think as soon as Zeus is moving, then you're not winning a fight. It's just never happening. The more they can convince him to stay in a side lane, the better it's going to be. So Beryl helping Deft to clear out this minion wave. Still has about a 30 CS lead himself. And that lead in the bottom lane is still there. It is still a thing. It's not as sizable as what Zeus has over Perfect. But it should still help KT keep themselves in it, at least for the next little while. But we've seen Kallistas struggle to carry unless it's Bull. So we'll see whether Deft can do his best Bull impression and really close out this game with the Kallista.
Words I never thought I'd hear is Perfect again.
Oh dear. Well, Zeus is just going to let him live. He is a benevolent god, as it turns out.
Very apt, as Deft will be able to, on the next wave, take down this turret. And the key thing for KT is that it's not over just yet. I do think they're really fighting an uphill battle. The amount of team fighting power that's going to come from Zeus is really going to make this quite hard. And for KT, I think it's going to have to rely on either Deft having a really big team fight. Outside of the Nautilus, there aren't that many ways to reliably lock down this Kallista. So if T1 overinvest onto another target and Deft is able to... wait, what happened?
Yeah, Pioshik got that blue somehow.
Oh.
We were looking at Deft have a bit of a farm, and in the meantime, Pioshik just walked up and pressed a smite button, I guess.
Nice. Good for him.
There we go.
Yeah, Pioshik smites.
It's the little things.
It's been great. You gotta cherish those. But that I think is for KT mainly what you're going to be looking towards. Or, and this is something where I think T1 hasn't really shown any signs of this yet, but we have seen them do in the past, is some classic over-aggression in side lanes. With the Taliyah, especially with level 2 on the ultimate available, able to rotate very quickly.
When you have a Rumble this fed, is over-aggression in a side lane ever a thing that's really possible? Because I think that, like, you can kind of do whatever you want.
I'm looking for angles here.
All right, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you.
The actual answer to your question is, if they don't literally 100-0 him, they will lose whatever fight and choose.
Yes.
And they might lose someone even in the best case scenario.
Because one of the problems is that Zeus often uses his ult pretty well. He isn't one of the players that throws it into a different video game at the beginning of every team
quite
fight.
Impressive when you think about it.
Yeah, we have seen that actually occur more times than you would expect. As Faker comes on over, bit of a parting shot there onto Pioshik as he slinks away. Finally, the Rookern has been put together here by Perfect. It's not going to mitigate too much here, but it should at least help him not die instantly.
He'll be pretty tanky. You know, he's up against double AP and then a Lee Sin that isn't really going to be looking to target him, and then a Draven that is behind. So
there you go.
It could be worse.
True. Hey, that's what we could do. We just do the could be worses.
Well, it's... yeah. The main issue is just you need to find a way to deal with the Rumble reliably, and I find it hard to see a way in which Zeus doesn't toast you before you get the opportunity to do so. These type of traps, though, could be something. Pioshik is on his way.
Yeah, there's a seismic shove. Now on cooldown, Faker not going to do anything aggressive, moving back towards his turret, and oh dear.
It'll be big.
This could be the catch. As another seismic shove could be available, he is going to not. He's not there. He's not there anymore. A little bit late, but very, very close.
Hey, they didn't CPO Shik, so that's nice at least.
Yeah.
No information being given in that regard, but not able to actually get the pick on Faker. Really a pick on any out of Zeus, Faker, or Keria would be good. Pick up those shutdowns.
Yep. Zeus, of course, the best one on that front. 500 extra gold, feeling pretty good. He has a Shadow Flame now as well. That's very scary Rumble. Extraordinarily scary Rumble. BDD has his Seraphs complete. See where else he goes with this build so far with a fair bit of mana. Has that extra shield as well. And Deft, kind of the star of the show here for KT. Wanting to see whether he can be the one to carry this.
And the single target damage, I think, is still really, really good, as we do see some stacks. Barrel!
Right, in goes Barrel. There's the flash pole, and they're looking for it. He pushes back the Rumble, and he's just dead. Couldn't even equalize them. They did exactly what you said, Chronicle. I thought it was impossible. Who is this Barrel? Where did they get him from? They import him from 2019? What's happening?
And that's the one member on T1 that if he goes down, there is zero chance of a contest. If Guma goes down, still try
and
something.
These breaks against Rumble are about the best ones you can get. Okay, let's see it from the mastermind himself.
It's just a Blast Cone diff.
Yeah.
Finds the Blast Cone flash, gets the knockback,
and still has Fate's Call, still has the Unbreakable Will.
Yep.
나 심장이 벌렁벌렁거려. 제우스 잡았다.
Takes a bow.
I love it when a plan comes together, Atlas, when we're like, yeah, just kill the Rumble. And then they do. It's not enough by itself.
No, it's not.
But
it's not.
Look,
it's
good.
good.
Gold lead. It's like 1.5K. You got a second dragon. That's going to buy you time.
Exactly. Well, Barrel is now just playing with Fog of War here just a little bit. I was a little bit frightened. I'm not sure who for at that point in time. But nothing is going to eventuate. And Deft back into the farming. 211 at 19.5 minutes is not too bad as far as that CS number is concerned. Spioshik will find a stun onto Keria. Keria takes that as a welcome. And in goes Barrel. Looks for another Pulverize, and here are the two sides of Barrel. The Fate's Call is going to come through and save his life, though, as they get the knock-up onto Oner, who just explodes, pops like a balloon, but look at the equalizer damage once again, though! Headbutt Pulver, and he's dead! KT have won the team fight. It's 2-1, and T1 are just going to back away. What?
KT?
No.
Not going down, but...
Not KT. Barrel. But no, yes, KT.
It's KT.
Yes,
KT. So, yeah. Starts off looking a little bit risky with Barrel going in very aggressively, trying to play around with the vision very nicely, using the new map architecture. But to me, the big difference maker there was that flick that BDD was able to get back on Zeus. So initially, Pioshik not wanting to take any risks, really good buffer there. Barrel goes in, and this looks disjointed. But then you see BDD actually forces Faker's flash, and then Oner goes just a little bit too deep. But T1 feels like it's free. We have the equalizer, but they're actually able to get off of that. And Zeus steps too far forward, doesn't have his flash, or actually flashes at the end of that play, rather, still ends up going down even with that. And now the gold 1K at 21 minutes.
This is exactly the telecom war we wanted, and I was beginning not to believe.
We were getting worried.
I didn't think that it was going to be quite as competitive as we may have initially tried to sell it as.
It still might not be, Atlas. We don't know.
Precisely. However, I think it's done enough. It's done enough.
It's game
right?
one already.
If someone just wins a team fight and it snowballs out of control from here, fine with it. Absolutely fine with it.
Stamping game one.
Stamp of approval. Absolutely. Game one. 300 Blue Blades really occurring here for Gumayusi, to coin Papa Smithy's phrase that Teddy suffered from quite a few times when he was on Jin Air all those years ago. He's wanting to cash those in as soon as possible, needs to find a bank. Not sure who will provide one of those. Okay, this is sneaky.
That's a classic.
Yeah, let's see what they can do here though as Faker over the wall. Getting a lot of damage down. Perfect will be able to poke his nose in. Does see that they've started it. Pyosik in the area. And he has got a really good smite button today. T1 do not want to risk it, but I love the attempt. Just test it. Test the theory.
Keep them on their toes. Make sure that they don't get too comfortable. The early damage that Faker has available with VODS stuff second, actually. That's kind of crazy. Usually,
yeah, it's normally the third item these days.
Yeah, and also we've seen a lot of Crypt Bloom as well.
Yeah,
I do really like the VODS stuff. I assume Zeus is going to go for Crypt Bloom instead. But KT, they've dealt with T1 before, particularly, obviously. I mean, I say particularly, it's really anyone but perfect. PDD has plenty of experience playing against T1.
And especially in spring as well. I mean, T1 are the kings of spring, right? The last 2 years, they have absolutely dominated.
They've had
But BDD's Gen G was the spring team.
Yeah, just to put in perspective, I think they've had one match loss.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years in spring.
Yes.
in regular season, obviously.
So it was undefeated, and then what was it, like 16-1 or 17-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, 17-1. 18-1?
But
I have it in somewhere.
Deft, edge of... I actually love this, because one of the big things I was worried about for Deft specifically is that even if he's able to get off of it, Zeus ulting him might just be enough to take him out of the team fight. With Edge of Night, that's not going to be the case. And outside of that, T1 doesn't really have a great way of proccing this. Also provides you with extra safety against the possible Nautilus engage.
Yeah, and he needs to stay in range because Beryl's going in.
Yes.
You know, so you need to be able to face Oner. Oner's on a ward. Let's see what he can actually get done here as, they tried to time it. Pyosik looks for him. Beryl doesn't get the headbutt in the right spot as Oner is able to get away. Man, that was so dangerous, but he just sort of wanders his way out.
Yeah, so what happened there is they gave away that they knew where Oner was because of the preemptive E from BDD to ensure that Oner couldn't kick Deft back into the team. And then they tried to engage, but at that point, Oner already having the presence of mind, know that he was going to get collapsed upon. As KT does have control of the river right now.
Gumayusi was able to actually press W. Runs out of the seismic shove nicely, and the Drake is what both teams are focusing on. Soul point here for KT, and another stack of Mountain would be huge.
Mid-prio for them. They can move into the river first, but we do see Oner still off to the sides, looking for a possible angle.
The range of engage is just so huge here for T1 as well, with that equalizer up and available. Vision now being gained. They don't have an amount of those, exactly. And Oner will find Pyosik there. There's the Fate's call, the flash forward, and he interrupts the blast cone! Headbutt Polven, he's dead! Pyosik able to avoid the equalizer damage as well. That is a huge cooldown for this fight, and KT, they should be able to get themselves the Mountain Drake here as T1 scatter.
And that's going to be soul point for KT! Another insane pick being found. Last one, I think, was over. This time, Deft actually uses Fate's Call, flashes forward just to ensure.
I'm struggling to fathom at the moment. There was not the fathomability of the outcome, because this was... Oh, man. Okay, let's check it out one more time. The flash Fate's Call and then the interruption, the timing. Absurd.
And with no jungler, immediately, no opportunity for T1. Soul point now. And if there was one thing that I don't think a lot of members on T1 can reliably deal with, it's when we get to the mid to late game, even though I don't think that, Kalista, you're not going to be super excited about. Viego kind of the same. They can be strong if they can pop off, but realistically it should be tough. But if you are able to withstand the initial brunt of the T1 competition, it's really only Faker that is able to do a lot of output, especially because Guma still hasn't gotten a kill. Still sitting on all those stacks.
The blades are turning purple at this point.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's certainly, I mean, he is stacking and stacking and stacking. He hasn't died recently.
Oh, no, he is.
Look at this gold advantage. It's Deft versus Zeus.
That's fine. Just one Draven kill, and then we can get rid of all that, Atlas.
Yep. Well, I don't know about all of it, but it's a fair bit. You actually would put a dent in it. As Pyosik now going to face check Zeus. That does not seem like a positive thing. He is going to get over the wall, and he's burning, ticking, and alive.
I don't know if you should recall there. Zeus has his ult now. Didn't have it just at that second, but now they're going to immediately try T1 Baron.
There it is. And KT, they know exactly what's going on here, but can they actually do anything at all about it? That's the question. Deft is hoofing it as best he can. And Keria, yeah, moving on forward. Perfect, not going to be able to find too much here as Keria gets over to the wall. And Perfect still going aggressive, still going in. Faker is going to get pulled back by the Q as the equalizer goes down. Not exactly the greatest one we've seen, though. And KT still looking for more. Still looking for this team fight. As Fate's Call comes in, there's that flash pulverize, but he's not the target. It's Pyoshik that locks down Keria, but can they find the team fight? Perfect went so incredibly deep. But T1, they still have the Baron. It's a 1-for-1. And the flash hook from Pyoshik just barely misses the backside of Gumayusi as he makes his way out. And T1 will say, all right, that's fine. We got a Baron. We're fine with this.
Oh, I hope I'm wrong, but it almost looked like Perfect was actually the one who saved Faker there.
Oh, no.
I hope not. We're going to see in the replay, KT really trying to get something out of this because, you know, in a Pyoshik fashion, face checks a brush, almost dies. So this call from T1 is without risk initially. Securing this Baron was always going to happen, but then it's the follow-up. They are able to take down Faker, gets very low. The equalizer doesn't actually do that much. Perfect actually does do a good job of providing a reliable frontline, and this is where you think the turn is going to come through. And there we see...
Oh, it was the headbutt. The seismic shove would have got Faker.
Exactly. Seismic shove would have gone to Faker, but also because of the headbutt, the redirect on the ultimate actually drew Faker all the way over the wall. So an impressive bit of anti-synergy there. Unfortunately,
it was a cavalcade of errors.
Yeah, it was a lot. Oh, a lot that didn't go all the way. But they still have a fighting chance. In about a minute, that Drake is going to come up. It should be much harder to fight because of the... look at the wave that's being stacked towards the bot side of the map.
Yeah,
already see level 16 available for Zeus as well. Level 3 ultimate Criploon is there, but no death cap yet on Faker.
Oh. Jeff dashing forward. There's the pulverize from over the wall. Emperor's Divide hits everyone though as Faker is burning, but I think he will survive. Keria may not be so lucky as Deft picks it up. So Keria is going to be taken down. Faker has to go back and doesn't have teleport. And now there's an all-out onto Zeus. The Weaver's Wall coming in. Zeus trying to be the hero as BDD almost just dead. The Honey Fruit not quite there. And another Q. Oner is delivered. And that was a weird interaction, but Perfect is once again dead. Oner is also, though, as Deft cleans it up in the pit. Not quite the kill from the Draven. What? That was chaos. Who won?
Telecom War!
Oh,
no, it didn't
baby.
matter. Didn't matter.
Oh,
There's no dragon.
Oh, yeah,
fine.
right. Oh, yeah, it's 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
No, T1 probably is the winner because they're the one that still can push on. It's Pyoshik.
And also, Pyoshik might just be dead. Yes, he is.
Okay, yeah, T1 won. T1.
T1 won that, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
they won the play.
And we were confused a bit. Thanks, Pyoshik, for letting us know exactly what the outcome was there. As Faker going to be interrupted. There's a Fate's Call. Faker could just be dead. Another pulverize, and he's thrown around like a ragdoll. Sticks are ripped out, and Deft locks that one down to KT win now. Like,
what is happening?
Can't keep up.
We can't breathe.
Oh my goodness.
And now they're going to get soul.
Yeah.
Off of that play.
Right, so now it's not too late.
Now it's KT winning.
Yeah. All right, well,
I think.
I mean, Pyoshik's still dead.
Yeah, but I don't care. You have Deft.
Yeah, that's true. He's got a decent...
No, they can't. They can't. They need more. And Faker, I don't know what a teleport cooldown timer is, but probably going to be up when his Deft time's out.
Okay, so back to a T1 victory on this one.
I'm going to call 50-50.
All right, when in doubt, just look at the top and count the gold. 1.6, T1 are in the lead, okay? There we go.
Yeah, okay, but dragons, though. Faker's going to TP in 8 seconds. Look at the item breakpoints. Faker does actually have the death cap now. No death cap available for BDD.
They don't find the seismic shove as Pyoshik dashing on forward. They could just do that, though, I guess, because of the blast cone. And now the teleport from Faker gets him in here. It is an honest 5v5. As Deft is in that mid lane, trying to clear things out. Vision now down.
If Prio found, Keria is on the ward right now.
Oh, this is dangerous. Deft can... He doesn't have Fate's Call, so never mind. Not going to be able to make that one work. They want to stack up this rend as much as possible. The Rage Blade also there. And the sticks are just increasing. It should be Mountain Soul. Yeah, the Weaver's Wall comes in. Can Oner do something heroic? And the answer is no. There's Mountain Soul. Keria also potentially in trouble as Oner doesn't quite find the Sonic Wave. And KT just wanting to get out with their prize, and they will be allowed to do so.
And that's going to be the Mountain Soul.
I'm going to have a heart attack this series.
Yeah, no,
I think I might.
This is game 1, Atlas.
Yeah.
After this, I'm sure BDD also going to have his death cap done as well. And this is where, you know, the Void Staff for Faker, he's going to feel great about this. Gumayusi also has his Lord Dumbs already. So at least they have a decent amount of items in place. Black Cleaver, Crypt Bloom. So there's a decent amount of armor reduction or magic penetration available here for T1. But I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Does this give, like, Perfect the complete getting obliterated by run? Like, if they win this, if KT managed to win this, is this 2 games where he's gone like 0-5 and 1? Because Kingen did like the same thing.
It might be.
I mean, it's true. If they do win this, that is the case. Has he lost to a Rumble yet? I believe. Yeah, they did. They did against Kwando.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dudu was able to do it.
Got him. And still, T1 has a gold lead. But I do think that they are actually behind when it comes
Mountain Soul value's pretty high.
That's the point, especially with 3 Mountain Souls. But at this point, it's just going to come down to who finds the angle. For T1, their most reliable teamfight carry at this point is going to be Faker. Guma, you know, even without any cash-ins, he's sitting at 3 items, but compared to Deft, who's at 4.5, he's still not going to be feeling great. Guma doesn't even have the money to finish his boots. This is a sad portrait.
Yeah.
He still has a 250 gold bounty on his head. And just dinged level 16 as well, but...
Goshik once again, aggressive position. It's scary, because he has been punished multiple times. Not happening this time, though. It's Baron up and available. KT doing their homework. As Oner gives away his position. And Perfect is much tankier now. And this is the thing. Like, you can put a tank down, but the longer a game goes, the more he's just kind of okay with being a punching bag. And he's putting items together. You know, he's trying to do it. He's getting there. Beryl.
Well, T1 actually are staying really far away. This is really nicely done. You can see with the vision control they have, the path that they took is relatively safe.
Yeah. BDD looks for it, finds Faker with the seismic shove. The flash has to be used. Faker does make his way out. Big cooldown.
Deft?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Beryl. That's a Beryl flank.
This is definitely a Beryl flank. It's both of them, and Beryl doesn't even need the Fate's Call to start this one off. Keria, the seismic shove not going to be there. Beryl not able to flash on top of Zeus, who has a, dear, there's that Fate's Call we were talking about, and he is going to be taken away from this fight. T1 now find themselves on the wrong side of this battle. And the equalizer now on cooldown. He's not in there. Oner looks for the kick, but where's the follow-up? The Empress Divide's kind of massive, but Deft able to take down Faker, and now it is just an seismic shove onto 2, and KT might find it. The cash in, it comes in, but it comes too late. And KT with 4 up and available, they're looking for the end.
And the first game of the Telecom War delivers Atlas.
Oh my God, man! And I feel like we were saying it all week that this was the outcome, but it's honestly not how I was feeling moving in.
There will be justice
There
for this time.
There will be. It better be a 12 out of 12, otherwise it's not justice to me, Chronicler. This guy, this was vintage Beryl Alistair. He was the Alistair guy. Somehow Keria finds Deft with that hook, but they are still going to have enough to take down this Nexus, and KT will play.